Hello. Here we are. I did it. We're 1 week in. Had surgery last week, and yeah, as you can see, it's gone pretty well. The last time I had it done, I guess it was all very new to me. I was feeling quite nervous, whereas this time around I kind of knew what to expect. I think maybe the day just went a bit quicker. Um, but I suppose for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to kind of talk you through what I experienced on the day and what's happened the last week, so you can kind of get a feeling for it. If you're thinking about getting a second hair transplant, this may be useful. If you're thinking about getting your first one, go back and watch my old videos because they're probably a bit more comprehensive. So this will be probably a little bit more of a whistle-stop tour for the procedure itself. But there were a few things that I forgot actually on the day itself, things that had happened previously. It's funny how your mind works, but it was definitely easier this time round. So as per 4 years ago, I went along at 8 o'clock in the morning, had my initial consultation, and we had a discussion around what I want done. So the main focus for me was packing out the crown a bit, because I was very happy with what was done before. It's just that when your hair gets to certain lengths, you can do more or less with it when you've got more or less hair. So actually fairly long, I was absolutely fine with it. But when you went a bit shorter, I think it was a bit clearer that the crown wasn't as thick. So just to recap, the first time I went in, I think it was 2,200 grafts in the front because I was pretty much bald here. And then I had the other 800 in the back. This time round, I've had 2,800 in total. I think it is. I'm sure it's 2,800. So I think I had like 1,000 at the front and then 1,800 at the back. So there's a lot more density gone in there. But yeah, so I had my consultation. He kind of drew all the stuff on. You may have noticed that my hairline has changed slightly. To be clear, I did not want a lower hairline, and I made that point to him. I'm not like, no criticism, but I know some people like having that really super low kind of hairline. It wasn't about that for me. I'm 44. I don't need that kind of amount of hair at the front. But I did want it slightly more pointed, because before it was a bit round and it didn't look bad, and I wasn't unhappy with it. But I was like, well, I'm here. So we've had a little bit put in here. Now, you'll probably notice it's a bit darker here as well, because he was like, well, now we can see it longer, shine the light through, you can see actually where there's some areas where we could just improve the density. So, marked it up here, Sat down, had my head shaved. This time they were a lot more thorough, getting all the way around, so hopefully I won't have too much of like a Sven Goran Eriksson style thing going on, or a Friar tuck. Shaved all that off, and then it was the bit that is the worst bit. So lay your face down, anaesthetic injections starting at the back, working their way up and around. They do hurt, and I remembered that they hurted, so I was prepared for it, but it still sucked. Like, it really sucked. But had that all done, fine, waited for it to numb. Then the usual process, kind of face down, they take the grafts at the back, turn your head to the side, take the grafts from one side, turn your head and do the other side. Then the doctor came. That went really quite fast. It felt a lot faster than last time. And actually I was finished like maybe an hour and a half earlier this time round. Mind you, there were less grafts as well, but only 300 less or 200 less. But so yes, we had the grafts taken. He came in, cut all the channels for me, and then I had my lunch, all bandaged up, had my lunch, came back, and this is the part that I forgot. So they get saline and they inject it under your scalp to lift your scalp up for the implantation process. I'd completely forgotten about that. And whilst you don't feel anything, it's still an odd sensation because it's quite rough, because they're jamming this thing in, and so your head's got being yanked around a little bit. It was completely bearable. It was completely fine. It was just a very strange sensation, because you're thinking to yourself, well, I know that I'm having a needle jammed in my head right now, and I had a needle jammed in my head earlier, and it really hurt, and this time, nothing. Which does get you thinking, oh God, how much is it going to hurt later? Like, how much trauma has my scalp endured? Spoiler alert, it was fine. Oh, another cat appearance. So they did that, then it's the boring bit where you're sat there and they're implanting the grafts. Now, it's super boring because you can't do anything. They've got this thing over your like tissue essentially, or what, I don't know, some kind of medical gauze or whatever over your forehead here, because they're constantly spraying saline and it will just drip in your eyes. So you can't play with your phone, you can't read a book, you can't do anything. They put the radio on for me, which was nice of them. It was all like rights free Christmas music. So it was like naff versions of Christmas songs, but you know, this time of year you go into any shop and you're gonna hear Christmas songs, it was fine. But this is a curious thing that happened this time around. This is not a flex, because I hate people who make these flexes who like, you know, I'm a heavily tattooed guy. You get these people like, oh, I fall asleep during my tattoos. You're like, oh, shut up, mate. But I genuinely nodded off multiple times because I had nothing to do. It'd been a fairly early morning. I was quite tired and my head was numb, and it wasn't that they didn't need to move me around very often. So I did kind of doze off, but it's that kind of sleep, you know, that kind of sleep you get on a plane where you're not fully asleep, but you are still kind of asleep because you get rest and you sort of dream a little bit. So that was quite good because that made the time fly by. Then at the end of the procedure, I asked if I could have PRP, so I paid a bit of extra for that because I don't know for certain that PRP helped me heal really well last time. All I know is that I healed really well last time and I'd had PRP. So I'm like, look, let's not mess with a winning formula. So I had that done. I had a bit of trouble getting blood out of me, which is ironic because, you know, like I had holes stabbed in me all day. But they got it out, whizzed it around in the centrifuge, jammed it in my head, and then I was off on my merry way. And then for the last week, I've just been healing up. Now, I did do some shorts throughout the week, just a few little ones. I'll drop some photos. I won't do it on this update, I'll do it on my next one. I'll drop some photos of the swelling because I did swell up and it sort of started here and then it sank down. And at one point I looked like Crichton from Red Dwarf. If you're British and of a certain age, you might know that reference, but my face was looking very boxy. But it gradually drained down and disappeared. But what's been really interesting this time around is the scabs they're pretty much, there's a few at the back, but they're pretty much all gone. So I've healed really, really well. Like, I'm very pleased. Like, if you look at the sides, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but it's not as red, and the donor area seems to have healed very quickly. At the top, there's not much really redness there. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll probably remember that and a lot of people commented on this, and it's absolutely fine. My scalp was very pink for months afterwards, like months. And as the hair grew in, the hair hid the pinkness, but it was still there, and it took a long time for that to go away. This time round, it's not. Now, I don't know if that's because I'm healthier now than I was then. I don't know if it's because the person who did it, maybe it's a different person who put the implant in, or it's the same surgeon. Different time of year. So last time was in the summer, it was in August, this time it's December. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's healing really, really well. And I was quite nervous about going back to work and sort of getting looks. And I'm going to get looks anyway because I buzzed my hair off. But I think now I should be able to go back and everyone will just think I've shaved my head rather than thinking, why does his head look all red and sore? So it's been really, really, really good, the healing. Like, I'm so pleased with it. I suppose next thing I'm kind of looking at is how is the shedding going to work this time? Because last time, obviously, I had next to no hair here, next to no hair here. So when it all fell out, I looked like I had mange. This time round, I'm like, will only the new hairs fall out? Will the old ones grow through? In which case, I should be able to grow my hair back fairly quickly. And then the new hairs will just grow amongst the old ones. And it will just become thicker and thicker over time. or will some of the old ones drop out through shock as well? The surgeon was like, that your hair, the existing hair should just grow back. You should be fine. You know, it could drop out, but it should be fine. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, all in all, I'm very happy. So I hope I can catch this on the camera. If I turn my head down, there is a lot more hair here. Like I say, like 800 went in last time, and I think about 1800 has gone in this time. So, like I've over doubled, well, I've over tripled what was put in last time. In total, I mean, I've over doubled it this time around, but in total, what we're talking about, like 2,600 grafts that are in there now, you know, versus 800 that was previously in there. So I'm really looking forward to it, actually, to it all growing in and seeing how it all ends up, and also looking forward to seeing how I'll style my hair now that, you know, it is a little bit pointed at the front. But yeah, I guess overall, if you're looking at getting a second one, this is my experience. Everyone's experience is different, but my experience has been really good. I think knowing the process, going back to the same surgeon as well, like having the trust there, but knowing the process and kind of anticipating it just did make it easier. And yeah, like again, the healing this time, and maybe it's those other factors that I mentioned, or it could just be that I kind of instinctively knew what I was doing this time. I was taking care of it sensibly. I don't know, but it's a week in, and that is pretty damn good for a week. So there we go. I'm going to shut up now. I will do these periodically because otherwise they're going to become boring. So when there's something happens that's worth talking about, I'll do one of these. But that's my experience so far. Hope it's been useful to you. Any questions, as usual, just reach out in the comments or reach out to me directly on social media. And as always, I'm happy to discuss. I know a lot of people have reached out over the years, and most of them have gone on to have the procedure. And by the way, not all at the place where I go. I know people keep asking in the comments, what's the name of the clinic? I'm not advertising for the clinic. This is like for people, for their information. So, but yeah, I know lots of people have had it done all different places in the country, different places in the world. And I'm really happy to be able to answer any questions and help people make their mind up one way or the other. But yeah, hope it's been useful. I'm going to shoot now. See you later. Bye.